More than ever, we recognize the partnership between education and mental health. On this Mental Health Week, YouthTALK is collaborating with Upper Grand District School Board and the Wellington Catholic District School Board to talk about STRIVE, an acronym standing for Stigma Reduction, Truth, Relationship, Identity, Vision, and Engagement.
Before we begin, I wanted to introduce who we are. We are bringing this information to you today from CMHA's YouthTALK group, which is Guelph Wellington Dufferin Mental Health Youth-led program. Our goal is to work together to challenge stigma by promoting wellness and educating peers about mental health. We will be touching on the I in STRIVE, which is about identity. Our goal today is to have you understand how identity and mental health are closely related. We will also be exploring how we can create an accepting and inclusive environment for everyone to be able to freely express their own individual identity and see the value in uniqueness and diversity. Later, you will be hearing from one of the YouthTALK members, Ife, who will be talking about their own personal experience with identity.
Identity refers to the characteristics, traits, beliefs, values, and experiences that define who a person is and how they see themselves. It includes both personal and social aspects of self, and it can be influenced by a variety of factors such as genetics, culture, life experiences, and personal interests.
Identity can be seen as a complex concept as it encompasses many different aspects of a person's life, including gender, sexuality, race, ethnicity, culture, religion, and other aspects that make them unique. Identity can include internal factors such as one's sense of self-worth, purpose, and belonging. Identity can change and evolve over time as a person develops new perspectives.
Struggles with identity, such as feeling unsure of one's values or beliefs, or if someone feels as if their identity is not accepted or valued by others. This can lead to someone's mental health being impacted in a negative way. If someone is struggling with this concept, they may experience a variety of struggles with their mental health, such as increased risk of depression and anxiety, difficulty forming meaningful relationships, social isolation, poor self-esteem, substance use, or even self-harm.
Each and every one of us, regardless of our identities, can struggle with our mental health. As we know, mental health does not discriminate. It can affect anyone at any time in our lives. With that being said, we do know that certain identities may experience unique mental health challenges due to discrimination, prejudice, and stigma. We wanted to give some insight to some of the groups that may be at high risk of mental health struggles due to their identities. So LGBTQ+ individuals, members of the LGBTQ+ community often face discrimination, rejection, and violence due to their identity. People of color, racism, discrimination, and oppression can cause individuals from marginalized racial and ethnic groups to experience higher level of stress, trauma, and mental health struggles. Females. We often see that females face gender-based discrimination, sexism, and harassment, which again can lead to a negative effect on their mental health. Individuals living with disabilities. People living with disabilities often face barriers and discrimination. Individuals from lower socioeconomic backgrounds, people from low-income households may face economic insecurity, lack of access to resources, and social isolation, which can also contribute to mental health concerns.
It is important to note that these groups that were listed are not identical, and individuals within these groups may have their own experiences and struggles with mental health. It is also important to acknowledge that everyone's experiences with their own identity and mental health are unique, and there is no one-size-fits-all approach to addressing each individual concern. We are now going to turn our attention to Ife, a YouthTALK member, who will speak on their experience with identity.
There was this one time my teacher, he went out of the classroom and people were really loud and I was overstimulated. And so I screamed, and in that moment, my first thought was oh my God, they're going to think of me as the angry black girl. My emotions, no matter how drastic, would always be perceived under, it is not worth hearing because you are simply just always angry. Your emotions aren't valid. My identity kind of hurt people's ability to take my mental health seriously. People who just heard me scream or say something mean don't think, oh my goodness, you must be having an overwhelming day, or oh my goodness, what have you been through? The first thought is, why don't you just stop? I like would classify myself as like an overachiever, and like there's a lot of intersections with that. Being Black, a lot of people have this assumption that like you're unintelligent or incapable or like unable. And so I would struggle a lot with like a lot of these like feelings of overachievement, and I would be like really depressed all the time over the grades I got. I would feel constantly like this sense of constant anxiety, and it's like because people just assumed that like my race correlates to like my intelligence level, I would feel uncomfortable asking for help or trying to reach out to like students or to teachers, because then like it was just a really overwhelming and kind of isolating feeling. But yeah, I feel like my identity kind of added to the stigma that I felt about sharing my feelings, and like removing that stigma helped me expressing them to people that cared about me. And so like I talked about earlier, like I'm also, on top of being Black, I'm also an immigrant, and in immigrant households, like mental health isn't something that's like always brought up. I feel like I'm on the other side of that now. YouthTALK made me realize that honestly there's more to life than school, and I was really grateful for that. I found reasons to achieve and to do well outside of the anxiety, which I'm really grateful for, and I only did it like through family, through friends, through actually like working through my feelings and talking to people. Honestly, your friends love you, your family loves you, people want to genuinely be there for you, and they do really deeply care, even if they don't express it in the ways that you wish they would, and even if you don't express it in the way that you wish you would, you should. It's really important to you.
As we learned, identity is extremely valuable as it helps people understand who they are. Having a clear sense of identity can help individuals make decisions, set goals, and navigate life's challenges with confidence and resilience. Additionally, identity is important for building connections with others. When people have a strong sense of who they are more likely to form meaningful connections with others who share their values and interests. This sense of belonging can provide people with a sense of support and community, which can contribute to positive mental health outcomes. Understanding and exploring one's identity can be an important part of personal growth and development, and can contribute to positive mental health outcomes such as greater self-awareness and acceptance, increased resilience, more meaningful relationships, greater motivation and engagement, positive social change, and great overall well-being.
So how do we get to this point of accepting our identity? This process can take time, but there are several things we can do to help us on this journey. So one thing to do is acknowledging and accepting your feelings, even if they're uncomfortable to face. It is important to remember your feelings are valid. Take time to reflect on who you are, what you value, and what you want out of life without the opinions and biases of others. This can help you identify your strengths and areas for growth and gain greater clarity about our identity. Surround yourself with people who accept and support you for who you are. This can include finding people who share similar identities or have experience with the challenges we may be facing. Practice different forms of self-care that can help us feel more connected to ourselves and our identities.
The journey to accepting our identity is unique for each individual, and that it is important to be patient and kind to ourselves along the way. On that note, we want to conclude by focusing on the importance of accepting other people's identities, as this is an important part of building a more inclusive and respectful society. You can practice this by doing the following: taking the time to listen to people about their experiences and perspectives and help gain a better and deeper understanding of their identity and challenges they may face. Secondly, using inclusive language if you're unsure of something. Be mindful of the language you use and avoid making assumptions about someone's identity. Additionally, remember to respect everyone's boundaries, and you can do this by avoiding asking intrusive questions about someone's identity. It is important to acknowledge that everyone has the right to privacy to share as much or as little of their identity as they feel comfortable. You could also practice by avoiding stereotypes and assumptions. Instead, approach a person as an individual and seek to understand their unique experiences and perspectives. Furthermore, celebrating the diversity and uniqueness of others is a great way to have a more inclusive and positive environment for all. Lastly, speak out against discrimination and advocate for others whose identities may be marginalized. This can include standing up against hateful speech or behavior and actively working to promote inclusion and equality.
We now know that mental health and identity are closely related to how we accept our own identity and the identity of others. Our identity is made up of many factors and is the lens through which we see ourselves and the world around us. When we accept our own identity, it can have a positive impact on our mental health, and we now know that when we struggle to accept our identity, it can lead to feelings of shame and self-doubt, which can negatively affect our mental health. Likewise, accepting the identity of others is also important for our mental health. It allows us to connect with others on a deeper level, develop empathy, and build supportive relationships. When we discriminate against others based on their identity, it can cause a negative impact on that person's mental health.
Overall, accepting our own identity and the identity of others is crucial for our mental health and well-being. We encourage you all to practice the ways you do this for yourself to feel more fulfilled and create an accepting environment for everyone in our schools and communities.